Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Tuesday Takes. It's a beautiful day on campus. Today, I'd like to ask in advance for your grace about a message I want to provide. My words may not be exactly right, but my message, I hope, is clear and heartfelt. So to start off with, many of you know that I grew up in Arkansas, and you will now be able to calculate my age, as if that's a big deal, because I was in middle school in the late 70s and early 80s, middle school and high school. And during that period of time, I was often faced with being called faggot and sissy and pansy and homo. And quite frankly, that was the time that we lived in. And that often led to my feelings of being fearful, and it was during a time when being different was not acceptable. And so I often found myself being scared, and actually found myself picking myself up from time to time from being bruised, very rarely, but on occasion bleeding, and at least one time actually broken. And the one thing that was a unifying force between black guys and white guys is that they both hated gay people. Now, that message that I'm providing is not in any way to lead you to believe that I know what it's like to be different, to be discriminated against, or to be fearful. What that message is about is, even as I experienced all of that, I was still a white man at the end of the day, and I was still privileged. What our country is going through today is of critical importance, and I want all of you to pay attention. I have some notes because I want to get my message right. First of all, as we engage in providing services to our students this summer and contemplate our return to fall semester in August, we must recognize that many of our students and your fellow staff members will return hurting and broken, and in many cases justifiably angry. And we must all wrap our arms around our fellow people of color and be human. I don't want you to miss the point. If in all of the last week you have thought, I don't see color, I treat everyone the same, then good for you, that's awesome. But you have missed the point. If you have concluded that there are bad people in all professions, meaning, well, there's some bad police officers, you are correct. By the way, in healthcare, there are some abusive, narcissistic physicians, there are some mean nurses, there are some miserable healthcare administrators. But if that is what you've gotten out of this conversation, then you also have missed the point. You must contemplate, and you must come to understand that we have a systemic pattern of abuse, discrimination, and physical harm to black men and women in this country by virtue and from individuals in positions of power. And we must, as a community, address it, talk about it, challenge it, and be open and vessels of change. That's a pretty strong statement. Again, give me grace for my messaging, but do not in any way confuse what I'm saying without getting the point of what is intended. Here's something as you contemplate what's going on that may be helpful to you. It's been helpful to me. It is from a UNC alumnus, Lindsay Ray McIntyre. She's the Chief Diversity Officer for Microsoft. And when you're looking for tools, when you're looking for ways to wrap your head and your heart around what is going on, she says, engage with empathy and care. Let that be your guiding force. Ask, don't assume. There is diversity within diversity. Because you have talked to your black friend, that does not necessarily mean that her or his opinion represents an entire community in terms of how they are feeling, responding, and what their needs are. And finally, take accountability for learning about the issue and what must change for the sake of humanity. Lest anyone think that my message today is political, it is not. It is a message of humanity and a challenge for all of us to be engaged in our world and to be human. I wish all of you a safe and well week.